All right. Launching the Twitch app on my phone now to see if we are indeed live. Audio check. All right, sounds good. So, hello everyone. Hello and welcome to RPG Afternoons. Let me drink a bit of water. All right. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving. I hope your holiday is going well. There's Stream Elements kicking in. Lord Orfeo has arrived, casting RPG Afternoons with Demon Souls. So yes, we are here for more Demon Souls. But before we get into it, let me go through our opening announcements, and then we'll get into the stream. So, I am your host, Lord Orfeo. I stream 5 days a week. Let's go through this schedule real quick so you have an idea of what's going on and when. Mondays. I also stream a little something different each and every day of the week. I try to appeal to a wider audience, but it also helps me from getting burnt out on any one game or game genre. So Mondays, I stream games that are not part of a series. They are one-offs, they are uniques. Oh, I see we got some people popping in chat here. Wipeout and Ratika, hello, welcome, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving, thank you. I hope you too. Going through the opening announcements right now. And then I'll be diving back into stream chat. So yes, Mondays, 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, U.S. Eastern times. All of the times I'm giving you are U.S. Eastern. And yeah, as I was saying, we stream a little something different, something unique, something that is not part of a series on Mondays. And this coming Monday, we're going to be streaming a PlayStation 3 exclusive called Rain. Tuesdays, I take off. Wednesdays, from noon to 1 in the Discord channel. And if you want the link to the Discord channel, just type an exclamation mark in Discord. We have Anime Afternoons. Right now, we're going through the initial D series. This coming Wednesday, we'll be going through Season 1, Episodes 5 through 6. We're not that far in. If you want to catch up, you're more than welcome to. And afterwards, from 1 to 5, we have our weekly Just Chatting stream, community chat and gaming news, during which we go through community updates, gaming news, and game releases for the week. Thursdays are dedicated to role-playing games. As you can see by the stream title, we call them RPG Afternoons. And yeah, we're going to be continuing Demon Souls today. Fridays are the opposite of Mondays. The games have to be part of a series. That's why we call them Franchise Fridays. And working our way through the Borderlands franchise, specifically Borderlands 3. So if you're interested in that title, tune in tomorrow afternoon. Finally, Saturdays. Also, Thursdays are 1 to 5, and Fridays are 1 to 5 as well. Saturdays are Spooky Saturdays. We stream horror games, or not necessarily horror games, but games that have a very strong spooky atmosphere to them. We have those from 8 o'clock at night to midnight. And this coming Saturday night, we'll be starting the Resident Evil series with the title Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles. So that is our schedule. Those are the stream times. And Sunday I take off. So if any of those stream themes are of interest to you, then I encourage you to drop me a follow. And I hope to see you sometime during the week. And with our opening announcements out of the way, let us return to the stream of the day. And we are here for RPG Afternoons, and we are continuing Demon Souls. But before we do, let's dive back into the stream chat, see what's going on, and then I'll tell you where we're at in Demon Souls and what the plan is. All right, so yes, Wipeout and Ratika are here. Let me give some shout-outs. Shout out to Wipeout, last casting Final Fantasy V. I saw him make a good chunk of progress in that last night. Wipeout is a variety streamer. He likes all manner of games. He especially enjoys shoot-em-ups. He enjoys racing games. He enjoys role-playing games. Those seem to be some of his favorite genres. So if you like those, then check him out. He's also a video game developer. And his game right now is in Steam Early Access if you want to check it out. And it is called Skyraid. Type that into the chat there. Also, we have Ratika with us in the chat. Hello, Ratika. And happy Thanksgiving to you both. Happy Thanksgiving to all the viewers out there and to anyone who's watching this on YouTube. Ratika was last casting Destiny 2, another variety streamer friend. And Ratika streams a little something from pretty much every genre. So if you are interested in just a variety streamer with a wide array of interests, check out Ratika's channel. Ratika says, finished second place. Oh, wait, I missed something here. Here we go. Ratika says, I'm playing Warzone 2. Finished second place because gas. Aw. No. You'll get him next time, Ratika. But yes, I hope everyone's holiday is going well so far. And, let me... Actually, no, I have to keep that on for a bit. So, let's head on over to Demon Souls. There we go. Yes, and we are here for more Demon Souls. So, oh, hold on a second. I think something is askew. There we go. No, other way. There we go. Okay. So yes, we are here for more Demon Souls from Software, and we are continuing. Well, actually, we're starting the Archstone of the Burrow King. Our goal today is to knock it all out in a single go. This is our fourth playthrough, our fourth and final stream playthrough. We're going for the Platinum Trophy. We're not going to get any trophies from today's run. It's just pushing us further towards the completion of this playthrough. We are planning to knock out 3 bosses, the Armor Spider, the Flame Lurker, and the Dragon God. Of all the Archstones in Demon Souls, this is the shortest, if you know what you're doing. And I typically do. After 3 playthroughs, you would hope that I do. There is still some risk involved for me in this Archstone. There is in every Archstone. But I think we'll be okay. So let's dive in, and hopefully it will go well. Wipeout says, I'm dreading all the driving. The driving? What do you mean by that, Wipeout? Wipeout asks, final Demon Souls stream? No. We still have a ways to go. I do anticipate us being through with Demon Souls with this playthrough by December the 8th. Which means we'll beat it just in time for the Game Awards. How nice a celebration would that be? Alright, so far we are soul level 210. We have been playing this game now for 419 hours and 2 minutes. So, good amount of time. Wipeout says I gotta do quite a bit of driving today. I see. Well, you do like driving, Wipeout. What's left? I'll show you once we get into the game. And Albatrax is here. Hello, Albatrax. Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if you celebrate Thanksgiving, but regardless, happy Thanksgiving. Alright, I'm going to tune into my phone. There might be a little bit of audio feedback, but I want to make sure the audio balance of the game and my microphone are good. They should be. I tested this multiple times, but it never hurts to just test, an extra time or two. Audio check.
Audio check.
Okay. Okay, that's not bad. I thought maybe the volume of the game was a bit too low, but there's nothing really going on right now, and every time I run around and take a few steps, the volume sounds okay. So I think we're good. Happy Turkey Day. Thank you, Albatrax. Thank you. Alright, so, what are we doing? We are... Okay. Wipeout asked, what is left to do in Demon Souls? So, today... Well, first let's cover what we did last Thursday. Last Thursday we started playing through Demon Souls, the beginning of our fourth and final playthrough. And we went through all of the Archstone of the Small King. So, 1 Archstone down, 4 to go. I think it's 4. 1, 2, yeah, 4. So today, we're knocking out all of Archstone 2, the Archstone of the Burrow King. Next Thursday, we'll be making our way through the entire Archstone of the Tower Queen. And then the final Thursday, December the 8th, we'll be knocking out 2 Archstones in a single go. The Archstone of the Shadowmen, and the Archstone of the Chieftain. The only reason we're going to be able to knock these 2 out is because this Archstone is typically very hard. In fact, this is the hardest of all the Archstones. At least in terms of enemies. But if you use a specific strat, it makes it a lot easier. It doesn't make it easy, but it does make it a lot easier to the point where you can beat this entire Archstone in like half the time. And because of that, we are going to have a good chunk of time left over, or at least I'll have a good chunk of energy left over, to dedicate towards running through the Archstone of the Chieftain. And if you know what you're doing, you know how to navigate, this Archstone is not that bad, and the bosses here are actually, in my opinion, overall the easiest bosses in the entire game. So, once we knock that out, that's it, we beat the game. And I think we'll be able to pull it off in time. So, let me check my inventory to make sure I'm not carrying any unnecessary stuff with me that will clog... see, we are. At least I think we might be. Unless we're maxed out on throwing knives in our bank.
I was what?
I don't want to carry anything unnecessary on me. Oh, we are maxed out on throwing knives. Interesting. We will be picking up new items as we go. And I want to make sure that we have the room to do so.
We are indebted to
Alright, that's good. Do I need any of my gear fixed? No. Okay. I must have done that at the end of last stream as well. Wipeout says, so you have the platinum already, right? I do not. No. No. Today, we're just working on game progression, or playthrough progression with this Archstone. In order to get the Platinum Trophy, I need to do... Let's see. I need to get the Soul of the Old Monk, which is the soul of the final boss of this Archstone. I also need to go here to this Archstone and rescue an NPC named Saint Urbane. Then I have to come to this Archstone, and I have to obtain the soul of the final boss here, named Maiden Astraea. Then I take the soul I get from here, and I take the soul I get from here, and I take them to the NPC I rescued from here to learn 2 unique miracles, basically spells, and then I have my platinum. So nothing we're going to be doing today really progresses towards the platinum. It is just pushing towards game completion. But every stream hereafter, which is only going to be 2, will help us get towards our platinum trophy. So yes, December 8th will be the day we'll get the platinum trophy. That'll be cool. We will beat the game, and then afterwards we will celebrate with the Game Awards. So a whole bunch of nice things there, back to back to back. Alright, Archstone of the Burrow King, the Stone Fang Tunnel. City of the Burrowers, keepers of the huge tunnel. Most of the stubborn excavators who supported the soldiers of Boletaria had their souls taken. Lacking their own will, they mindlessly continue working. Albatrix says, I reinstalled Shadow of War and I still don't like it as much. Oh. Shadow of War. Remind me what Shadow of War is, Albatrax. It says, then finally Xenogears. Yay, yes. What will that be? December 15th? We'll be like halfway through next month. That's when we begin Xenogears. Oh. Let me pop in my earbuds so I can actually hear the game. I was like, it's very peaceful right now. It's uncommonly peaceful. Because I'm not getting any audio cues. I'm not getting any music from the game. Okay, there we go. There's no music? No, not right now. In Demon Souls, there isn't always music. And sometimes that's a good thing. Because if there are music, sometimes it might overshadow enemies who are right around the corner waiting to kill you. Just tinking from a pickaxe or something? Yeah.
Hello there, souls. Souls. I trade fine goods for souls. Our little town. Well, it's a nice wee place. All those lizard-eyed townsfolk are busy tinkering with stone. And don't bother with old men like myself. Makes life rather easy for me. I can get away with anything. Thank you, Lord, for this golden opportunity. You're wont to play. Well, you've got to pay, don't you agree?
Yeah, there's actually a hidden blacksmith right through here, but you have to figure out how to start the this machine here in order to get down there. It acts like an elevator. Beware of a fall ahead. Yes, yes, yes. There we go, an unknown hero soul. Oh, how many souls do we have? 295,000? I think we're rather close to leveling up. I think we need like another 50,000 souls. What spells do we have? We have Soul Arrow, Soul Ray, Fireball, and Homing Soul Arrow. Okay. Hello. How are you doing? Goodbye. Ah, Zetman is here. Hello, Zetman. Happy Thanksgiving. How are you today? One hit KO. I feel so OP. It feels good. It really does. Come on, I see up there. No? That's fine. You can stay there. I can kill you from here. Ah, how are you all doing? I know that's an axe. Good axe too, but I don't need it. I already have 2 of them. I'll take this though. Renowned Soldier Soul. Zetman says, what kind of hat is that? This is a hat made of an enchanted yellow robe. It greatly increases the damage potential, well not potential, the damage, of my spells, at the cost of making me more vulnerable to magic attacks from the enemy. Oh, Zetman says, just kidding. Played OG Demon Souls. I'm playing the remake and I'm lost already. Oh, that's right. I remember you talking about that in Rady's chat. Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. This is my 4th playthrough, and I am very much enjoying it. How did you die? Oh, I don't know how they died. Oh, that's how they died. They fell. They must have not known how to start the elevator and try to jump down here on their own. Or they just fell. But where are you lost at? Maybe I could... Well, I don't know if you want help or if you want advice. You might want to just rediscover things all over again for yourself. oh. Let's regenerate a bit of mana here. Zetman says, Tower of Latria. Ah, that's through the Archstone of the Tower Queen. Well, the next area, I have a fear of heights. You're in Upper Latria. Granted, it is a game, but on the remake, it looks realistic. I get very cautious. Understandable. But I am taking a break and watching this movie called A Most Violent Year. I haven't heard of that movie. But Upper Latria is always a bit crazy for everyone. Regardless of whether or not you have a fear of heights, it's a lot of narrow walkways. The enemies there have the potential not just to kill you, but to knock you off, killing you. It is a very dangerous place, and a good chunk of the enemies fly, so they sort of have an advantage that you don't have. Okay. I'm trying to think how we're going to do this. I think we're just going to run. That's what we're going to do. There's a group of wolf dogs hiding through that doorway, and they're going to break out and try to kill me if I get too close. And there's no way I can take them all at once. Weapon says, how do people not have a fear of heights? Being high up is dangerous. It's not an illogical fear. True, very true. There they are. They're the dogs. They're just waiting for me to get close enough to break through. I wonder if I can... See if I can line up a magic shot here. Got him. I'm not even going to look behind me. That broke several pots. It hit multiple enemies. I don't know if any of them were running after me. If they are, and they're wolf dogs, they are a lot faster than I am. Yep, there we go. There was at least one left alive. I knew it. Ah, Jamera's here. Hello, Jamera. Happy Thanksgiving. How are you doing today? Zetman says it stars Oscar Isaac, and plot is where he owns an oil company in the 1980s. Tries to adhere to his own moral compass amid the rampant violence, corruption, and decay that threaten his family and his business. So a drama. Okay. You're doing good? That's good, Jamera. I am glad. Shout out to Jamera. Last casting Borderlands Game of the Year Enhanced Edition. You're looking for someone very knowledgeable about the Borderlands franchise? Do give his channel a look. Also enjoys competitive multiplayer games. Something over here? No. Also enjoys competitive multiplayer games like Paladins and Overwatch 2. Albertrix says, I got Darksiders 3. Ooh. Is he coming after me? He is coming after me. Darksiders 3 is a good one. Darksiders 3 is more like a Souls game, which is interesting. All the Souls games, not only do the horsemen play differently, but I gotta be careful because if I get too close, one of those two will hit me with a fireball. Not only do each of the horsemen play differently in each of the Darksiders games, but each of the games is sort of like a different... I shouldn't say it's a different clone, but it's inspired heavily by different games. So I would say that Darksiders 1... A lot of people say it's pretty much Legend of Zelda. I wouldn't too much agree with that. I would say... See? He sees me from there. I would say Darksiders 1 is more like God of War. Darksiders 2, I would probably say, is more like... Kind of hard to describe. I almost want to say it's more like Devil May Cry, but open world. But not as much action. Not quite as much action. And then Darksiders 3 is more like a Souls clone. And I would say out of all the Souls games, the beginning to Darksiders 3 is the hardest of the games. But by the time you get to towards game's end, you don't want to stop playing. Someone says the movie is a crime thriller. Oh, okay. We're going to try to run in and take this guy out that way. Oh, he's still alive. Gotcha. Oh, he lived. That's why he didn't die. I think when I spawned some of the homing soul arrows, they flew behind me to kill that guy. That's what happened. Like, how did he not die from that? That was a really powerful spell I just used. Chunk of Heartstone, chunk of Sharpstone, shards of Clearstone. But yes, do let me know what you think of Darksiders 3, Albatrax. I love all the lore. I love the characters. I do love everything about the Darksiders series. No! Oh, that was so close. So close. I meant to bunny hop backwards, and instead I rolled forwards. Oh. Also got Forgotten City. Forgotten City I know nothing about. What's Forgotten City about? There's another miner. Got him. The longest part of this entire Archstone is just getting to the first boss. Once you get to the first boss, the rest of this whole Archstone can be completed very quickly, aside from the time it takes to actually fight and kill the bosses. Pickaxe. I could have left that there, but oh well. Do you stream, Zetman? Have you been streaming the Demon Souls remake? You know, it's kind of hard to find people who stream the Demon Souls Actually, I was going to say the Demon Souls remake, but it's really hard to find people who just stream Demon Souls. Elden Ring is pretty common. Dark Souls, I would say, is also pretty common. But, oh, ah! There we go. Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I mean, not Dark Souls, or not Demon Souls. Elden Ring is pretty common. Dark Souls is pretty common. But Demon Souls is kind of rare to see someone streaming. At least someone that uses camera and speaks English is incredibly rare on Twitch. You'll catch almost no one doing that. And so it's fun when I find someone on their channel. I can just kind of lurk for a little while and hang out. Renowned Hero Soul. Carry any more of those. Zipman says, nah. Oh. I watch you stream it. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Oh well. That kind of worked. Oh, someone coming from around the corner? Nope. They want to, but they can't get up here. No, they can't. There's no way up here. Actually, there is, but they're not going to come all the way around. Very nice. And he's just ignoring me. He's working away. Alright. Drop down here. More stones. Albertrix says, The Forgotten City is a narrative-driven time loop adventure in ancient Rome. Interesting. Now I guess we can drop down here. More stones. Unknown Soldier Soul. And now we have to go back around. Wrong way. There we go. And I feel as though I've forgotten how to get over there. Oh, okay. Never mind. Well, no, that's not the way I normally get over there, though. I usually go this way. Oh, I see. I dropped down here and then I dropped down there, which is why I had to go back around. Just have to go this way, and I'm fine. Let me heal up. There we go. Some HP regen and some MP regen going. I could kill them, or I could just leave them alone. I'll kill them. Let me just hang out here for a while and let my stuff go back up. Albertrix says it originally started as a Skyrim mod, and then the mod got super popular. Then they made a full game out of it. Oh, that's cool. Some very popular games have started as mods. Counter-Strike started as a mod of Half-Life. But then you probably know that. Well, now we just hang out. Health is almost all the way back up. Manaw's getting there. You didn't know that? Yeah? Valve has been very supportive of the mod community. They've encouraged exploration, experimentation, and it's rewarded them. People really like Valve for that. Well, among other things. Their Steam sales are also pretty popular. Alright, we got full HP. Let's put our damage ring back on. There we go. And now let's just wait a bit more for our mana to go back up. We're almost halfway through the first part of this Archstone. Did you play Darksiders 2, Albatrax? What was that? That was weird. Thought I saw something pop up on my game screen, and it like flickered over the stream. No? I'm curious why you went from 1 straight to 3 then. Shard of Spider Stone. That's pretty rare. You bought it? You bought both 2 and 3? You just haven't played them yet? Oh, but you did not start it. Wait. I think I'm misunderstanding something. So, hold on. So you bought Darksiders 3, but you didn't start it. What's your status with Darksiders 2? More stones. Alpatrex says, I already had 1 and 2 I got from a bundle. I got 3 because it was at its all-time lowest. I see. And you've already beaten Darksiders 1. I know that. You told me about that already. So I'm interested what you think of the other 2 games. How they play, how the characters are. Oh, I do have to drop back down. Where did he come from? Was he always there? More stones? I have got to be getting full. Where's my burden bundle? No, I still got a ways to go. Okay. I really enjoyed all of the Horsemen. And that's really hard for me to say. That I like the cast, like all the main cast of characters. Like, I can't think of another game that has multiple... Well, I can't say that. I can't think of a series, that's a better way to put it, where there are multiple main characters, and I like all of the main characters. Like, I can't think of any other game like that. The closest one is probably Devil May Cry, but I never liked Nero. I thought he was kind of annoying. But all the other supporting characters and all the other main characters I do like in Devil May Cry. Shard of Meltstone. There's nothing over there. Nothing over there. Can't carry anymore. Actually, I wish I knew how many souls we need to level up. I think we're pretty close, but I think we might be like 50,000 souls away. We're not going to get that anytime too soon, so I don't think we are. cleaning the walls a bit. I think there's at least one more. Maybe two. Okay. Shard of Dragonstone. There he is. There's the last one. He's a tough one to get, too. There we go. Oh, someone's angry. I hear them moaning very close by. I think they're right up there. Sounds like they're right in my ear. Shard of Greystone. Large Hardstone Shard. You're supposed to go through there to continue. But the shortcut is this way. Why can I not walk onto him? There we go. Lots of stone. Yeah, my inventory is getting way too full. I think I'm going to go back and drop all this stuff off. The enemies holding the sacks, they do not respawn if I leave and come back. So I don't have to worry about looting a whole bunch of heavy stuff again. Unknown Hero Soul. Use projectiles on the next enemy. Well, that's kind of true. If you were here, you could aim over there with your bow and arrow and kill the enemies up there. That'd make it easier. Merchant lies and wait ahead. Sort of. Two you will get to in time. You're currently playing Sniper Ghost Warrior 2. I see. I hope I don't die here. Shard of Clearstone. This is one of the hardest parts of the entire level. Is right here. The elevator down to the smith. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness. I am shocked I survived that fall. I just kept getting lucky.
I haven't seen you around these parts. What does it matter? You need a blacksmith, show me some coin. If not, head straight for the door. I'm busy. I'm not here to chit-chat. Forging a weapon strengthens it. Alters its character. Those are transmogrified sprites. Their presence blesses the weapon. There. Don't waste my time.
Renowned Hero Soul. Great view? Not really. Well, no, I guess that's not bad. Over there. And we're back. We made it all the way around. Turn to the Nexus. Drop off some gear. We might be able to level up. And then we'll come back and try to fight the first boss. Ratika says, I've played the first one, I believe referring to Sniper Ghost Warrior. I actually have others, Sniper Ghost Warrior games. What did you think of it?
Thank goodness you are safe. I was worried sick about you.
No, wait. Oh, that's right, we can't put any more stones of Ephemeralize, now we're full. Sticky white stuff. 17 shards of hardstone. 4 large hardstone shards. A chunk of hardstone. 8 shards of sharpstone. 2 large sharpstone shards. Chunk of sharpstone. 7 shards of clearstone. A chunk of clearstone. Chunk of gray stone. That's full. Shard of dragonstone. That I can do. Shard of spider stone. And a shard of meltstone. Mirrored hammer. Pickaxe. Okay.
We are indebted to you, for you fight on our behalf.
And let's see how many souls I need to level up.
Thou seekest soul power, dost thou not?
I think it's like 350 though.
Then touch the demon inside me.
I think I'm like 40,000 souls too low.
Soul of the mind, key to life.
345.
Soul of the lost, withdrawn from it. I shall awake. I am here.
Let's see if we have enough items to make it possible. Probably not. Renowned Hero Soul. That's 1,000. Renowned Soldier Soul. That's 800. Unknown Hero Soul. That's 400. Unknown Soldier Soul. That's 200. No. I'm still like over 20,000 souls. Too shy. Cancel. I don't have any souls in my inventory, do I? With Thomas? Thomas. Come on, Thomas. Talk to me, Tom. There we go.
Thank goodness you. I was worried.
Take. No. Gray, Beast, Roded, Wriggling, Mixed, Doll, Storm, Hero, Swollen, Large Flame Scale, Small Flame Scale, False King, Silver, Iron, Lead. No. Okay.
We are in debt.
No regular souls.
I can afford.
Sword
You
fixed.
come.
Alright, back we go. Artika says the first Sniper Warrior was kind of fun, but ending one of the worst. Alberjack says in the first one the rifle sections are painful. I'm looking forward to getting into some of those games. I have I don't think it's Ghost Warrior, but I have a Sniper 2. I think I have Sniper 2, 3, and 4. Now I was considering getting Part 1, but Albatrax talked me out of it. Alright, take the shortcut back up. Fight our way back in. I thought there were 4 of them here. I guess not. Okay. He didn't give me a chance to make it all the way up there. Uh-oh. Ooh. Large Heartstone Shard. No, that leads to death. That leads to some pretty good items, but they're all weapons, and I don't need those. Run up here. You can bypass a lot of combat. Can't carry anymore. And One of those is a steel shield, and I think the other one might just be an item, but I don't remember what item it is. The unknown hero soul, nice. So then that down there must be the steel shield. That is not something that we need. They all have their back towards me. This is the one time in this whole level where I try to avoid combat. One of them already sees me, though. They might all... Oh, no! Oh, that was horrible. I just really messed up there. I mean, it's not like a really bad thing, but it's super annoying. So, I hit the wrong button, and I toggled out my Insanity Catalyst. And the Insanity Catalyst cuts your mana capacity in half. So, I have almost no magic power now. Okay. I think that one guy that was trying to get over here gave up. I got too far away. So, just gonna hang out for now, and let my mana regenerate. But yeah, we just bypassed all those enemies. Those enemies are annoying too. They have long plasma, or not plasma, long heated swords. Two of them over there throw boulders at you. Other ones over there want to swing pickaxes at you or punch you. There's way too many enemies. Even with ranged attacks, they're too annoying because they have ranged attacks. But I hope everyone's having a good turkey day. We don't have too much further to go. After we get our mana back, we continue to go up this platform, around this tower, then down. Right around there. We're going to have to deal with another two wolf dogs, which is a little annoying. Then I think we have to fight another fat official. And then we have to fight one more miner, I think, maybe two. And then we're at the boss. Actually, a few more miners. Then we're at the boss. The boss isn't too bad. It can't one-shot me. Probably three-shot me. But there are different spots you can hide in the boss arena to minimize the possibility of getting hit. And that greatly helps. And I basically just have to be a sniper or a gunner. I have to just peek out, fire off a spell, and then hide. And then peek out, fire a spell, and then hide. And as I keep doing that, I'll eventually whittle down the boss and beat him. And then almost right after beating the first boss, we can make our way to the second boss in less than 5 minutes, which is awesome. And then once we beat the second boss, we can make our way to the third boss in like a minute. Like literally like 1 minute after beating the second boss, we can get to the third boss. But after each boss, we are going to go back to the Nexus just because we keep building up our souls here. And if I die, I don't think I will, I hope I won't, but if I do, there's always that possibility. I don't want to lose a whole bunch of souls that I've worked for. I'd rather try to cash those in and level up. Alright, let's keep going. Up here we should have one wolf dog to fight and a whole bunch of fire lizards. And this is a little bit of a tough area, just because the wolf dogs will whip around this pyramid to kill you. And it doesn't really give you a lot of time to cast your spell. And that is sort of the inherent weakness of the mage. It's not so much your low defense. The weakness of the mage is that you need time and space with which to cast your spells. And if you don't have those, you are in a lot of trouble. Like, having a low defense as a mage is sort of irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. Just don't get hit, and it doesn't really matter how much or little health you have. But when you're going to sort of fall into a situation where it's going to be difficult to avoid, there we go, Dragonstone, to avoid getting hit, that's when being a mage is a little tough. That's a tip for every game. Very true. Very, very true. Alright, you can hear him. There he is. Here's the first wolf dog. What makes it harder with the wolf dogs is their AI is tuned to the point where they're not really that smart. But that makes it harder, not easier. There's actually two down there. And that if they were smarter, they know I'm here. They would run to the where the ramp touches the ground, and they would try to run up here and kill me. But that would make things easy for me, because then I'd have a clear shot at the wolf dogs, and I'd be able to drop them before they get to me. But because the AI isn't that smart, I have to walk all the way down this ramp to sort of get them to come around here to attack me, and that makes it a good bit tougher. I acted too early. I thought he was going to run around. And I can't even cast Homing Soul Arrow and run down there because I'm probably too close to these side rails. Look at that. They walk. Oof. Oh, wait. Is he going to make it? Is he going to pull it off? Is he going to walk around? Oh. Oh, not good. Not good. Not good. I'm almost dead. That's horrible. There we go. I tried to lock on to that one to cast a spell, but instead my locked on to the wolf dog beneath me. Oh yeah, there's the other one. I'm gonna have to go down there and kill it with my sword. Ooh, boy. There's one more down there. It looks like maybe he got stuck, though. I don't think there's any ground down there. See, that's him right there. You can kind of... It looks like he got stuck in between the pyramid and the floor. Typically one runs up these boards, or he's already up there around the pyramid to kill you. But maybe he glitched off. That's possible. Which, if that's what happened, that's fine. It's grindstone. And let's bring in our pole. Regen a bit of mana. I think we might be done with the hard bits. There's the wolf dog right there. Yeah, I think he's in the ground underneath me. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Almost there. Almost all the way around. Oh, no, 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 no. Here he comes. He's coming at me. There we go. Luckily, this pole deals some really good damage. This pole actually deals... Oh, boy. He was running at me. This pole actually deals more physical damage, or I guess more damage, than my sword. Alright, we got full mana again. Bring that sword back out. We're going to wait until the health goes all the way back up and then switch rings. Just so once we get down there with the miners, we'll be able to one-shot them again with our spells. And save up on some mana. Ratika asks, have you played Zone of the Enders? Yes, I have. A series developed by Hideo Kojima. I thought it was pretty good. I haven't played both games. I've only played through and beaten the first game. A cousin of mine let me borrow the first game. And I'm like, I'm not really that into mechs. I mean, they look cool, but I'm just not big on mechs. And he's like, no, try it. You gotta try it. It's really cool. It's made by the same guy who made Metal Gear. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I played it. I liked it. I thought the story was good. The graphics were good. The gameplay was interesting. It was kind of fun. Little stodgy, but still fun. And then the second game came out, and he beat that one, but I never got around to borrowing it. But I do have it now. I have the remaster on PS4, and eventually I will be playing through that on a stream. You're interested to play them? Yeah. The first one is pretty good. In fact, in the first one actually has multiplayer, which is pretty cool. It has multiplayer PvP, which is pretty neat. So throughout the game, you'll fight different bosses. You'll also fight different, what would you call them? Different standard enemies. And every enemy in the game is a mech. And you and someone else can each choose different mechs and fight it out in a given level. And it's just you and the other player. There's no other AI to get involved in those PvP fights. And those can be a lot of fun. And I found that I was actually the best at piloting like the standard run-of-the-mill enemy, which is pretty funny. I did enjoy playing as one of the bosses, but even the standard enemies are like, they're small, they're quick, they're hard to hit, and they don't deal that much damage. But if you're hard to hit enough, you can keep darting in, whacking once or twice, darting away, then darting in, and it can be frustrating for someone playing against you because you're hard to track down and hit. And that was like my favorite PvP character in that game. Ratika says, I'm not sure if I have them on PS3. Well, I think you can pick them... I want to say you can pick them both up on PS4. I don't know about PC. Albatrix says, wasn't there a movie with Patrick Stewart? You mean like a Zone of the Enders movie with Patrick Stewart? There have been multiple movies with Patrick Stewart. Like Star Trek movies. Alright. Put our magic ring back on. The Ring of Magical Sharpness. Boost the damage of our offensive spells. And now we should be able to one-shot people again. Yep. Ooh. Unknown Hero Soul. Nice. Lots of stones again. I have to say I'm going to miss this game. I am. It's been fun. It's been challenging. Playing through it multiple times actually feels comforting. Because even though it's always a challenge, I know what to expect. And so kind of like the scariness of like what's around every corner has sort of been taken away from me, so I don't have to worry about it as much. And I feel more relaxed. Okay. I was trying to think of what to do next, like where am I supposed to go? Pass those on by. See, I can hear miners from here, but where are they? They sound like they're right in my ear. That's creepy. No, I did it again! I did it again! I saw I was holding the pole, I meant to toggle to the sword, and I pressed the wrong button again. Large Sharpstone Shard. We're going to leave that there. That's a ring of, I think it's disease resist. We don't need that. It's either disease or poison resist. I mean, it's either disease resist or fire resist. I think it's disease resist. Ah, Ratika says only the second Zone of the Enders was remastered for PS4. Gotcha. Alptrix says, yeah, a Zone of the Enders movie with Patrick... I don't think so. I don't think there was ever a Zone of the Enders... Well, there was never a live-action Zone of the Enders movie. I know there was a Zone of the Enders, like, anime movie. But I don't know if Patrick Stewart was a voice actor for that project. Almost at the boss. We have one fat official left to go. He's down there behind all of those explosive barrels. And once we get past him, we have to fight one more miner, and then we fight the boss. So I'm going to let my mana go back up. And then we shall fight. I think. I'm never really sure of how to fight him. Because there's never an easy way to fight him. I mean, yeah, I'm going to run down there and then turn around and run back up so we can explode some of the barrels so I don't die down there. But aside from that, what I'm just the most used to is just keep running back and forth until he's cleared away enough of the explosive barrels so that I know I'm not going to die, and then I run down there and I try to just strafe back and forth while whittling him down with my spells. That's about it. That's my strat. I think the second one, the second Zone of the Enders, I think it also has support for PlayStation VR. I do plan on trying it out with PlayStation VR. I am worried, though, because VR games have made me nauseous in the past. But I've played some VR games that are really, really good in VR, like Déraciné. That is a masterpiece in VR. But I really haven't played too many other experiences. I want to say maybe like 55 to 60% of the VR games I've played have gotten me nauseous, which is not good. But who knows? Maybe I'll play Zone of the Enders 2 in VR, and I'll be fine. We'll see. Yeah. Alright, we got full mana. Let me check my rings. We got the right rings on. Here we go. You see me, come on. There we go. Alright. He's clearing them out for us. I like how the enemy spellcaster, and this is not sarcasm, I like how the enemy spellcasters in this game are sort of stronger than you are, in that they can target you from further away. They have unlimited MP. There's still a lot of explosive barrels down there. If I screw up, his fire spell is going to chip me for almost half damage, and those barrels could easily, if not kill me, maybe knock me down, and then he'll just fire another spell while I'm on the ground and finish me off. We're going to go with... And he can't be staggered by spells either, which is super annoying. Let's go with... I got an idea. But I need him to blow this up. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. Okay. I'm going to run down there. I'm going to try to see if I can dance around. And I'm going to see if I can hit him with the Homing Soul Arrow spell. If I can, I don't think it'll one-shot him. But I think it will weaken him enough to the point where I can just run up and whack him with my sword a couple times to finish him. Albertrek says, oh, it was Ender's Game, not Zone of the Enders. You're close. I had Enders in the title. Got him. That's what you get for that cocky little laugh. I think this is another Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. There we go. And now we just have one more miner to fight, who is up here. There he is. He drops that way too soon. Although I have to say, I have seen that rock hit plenty of people. But I think you have to be, like, sprinting in order to get hit by it. You can't just be like normal walking. You'll miss it. Okay. Now, even though I don't need it, I do want it. Just because of how good the item is. I'm going to go around here and pick up another Chris Blade. Demon Souls, the best... Well, I can't say it's the best, it really depends. But one of the best weapons for either Royalty or the Magicians is the Chris Blade. I think I already have like 2 or 3, but always pick up another one. Alright, nothing else here. Let's go down. Right, an item tucked back away in here. Chunk of spider stone. Alright, first boss time. You can see this little glow, the glow of his eyes back there. The armor spider. Alright. Strat is going to be... I can't get close enough for the homing soul arrow. It's going to be Soul Ray. Out of all the spells in the game, this one flies the furthest and the fastest. Get our sword ready, and here we go. Oh, okay, never mind. Crap. Got him. The demon was destroyed. That was super easy, wasn't it? $39,270 souls. Now I have enough souls to level up. I dived into my equipment because I was going to equip the Ring of Avarice to gain more souls from defeating the boss. And then I realized I was already wearing the ring. It's like, oh, I'm just wasting time. I've never beaten the boss that easily before. Where is this exactly? This is the... Let me see. Okay, so this is this guy. You just have to hide kind of behind him, and you're good. Nice. Okay. I think where I used to hide was like either back here, but you're way too far away to shoot, or I think I tried to hide like right here, where he's glued into the wall, but that doesn't really work that well. The wall just kind of dips in right here a little bit, just enough to be off the tracks. Nice. Alright. Collect some more goodies. Renowned Soldier's Soul. What else is around here? Chunk of Spider Stone. Hard Demon Soul and a Pure Spider Stone. And return to the Nexus. Drop off some more items, level up, get gear repaired, and then we will come back and fight the second boss, the Flame Lurker.
Thank goodness you are safe. I was worried sick about you.
Deposit. Our Demon Soul. And 2 shards of Clear Stone. Large Sharpstone shard, 2 of those. A shard of Dragonstone. 2 chunks of Spider Stone. A Pure Spider Stone. 4 shards of Sharpstone. Large Hardstone shard. The other Crisp Blade. Okay, that's it.
We are indebted to you, for you fight on our behalf.
I can forge weapons for you, for a fair price.
Repair. Sword. Hole. And that's it.
Do come back alive. I need your business.
And let's level up.
Thou seekest soul power, dost thou not? Then touch the demon inside me. Soul of the mind, key to life's ether. Soul of the lost, withdrawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended.
Intelligence is going to go up from 82 to 83. And our mana goes up by 3 points. Nice. Alright, we need 349,000 souls to level up again.
Art thou done? May thine strength help the world be mended.
What's our MP at now? 416. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Alright, back we go. Oh, wait. I do want to drop something here. The Shard of Greystone I don't need. There we go. Armor Spider Archstone. Archstone of the Demon Armor Spider. The Tunnel City. Below the smithing grounds lies a huge tunnel worthy of its name. It's said a dragon's grave is in the deepest part of the molten area. I like how sort of open this area is, even though it's underground. Like, there's multiple routes you can take to reach the lowest point, or to reach the boss. There's like a very direct route, which is the route we're going to take. But there's also sort of a medium route, I guess you could call it. Ah, he got away. Ooh, that was close. I almost died right there. I totally forgot about that thing that shows up. But if you go this way, if you go to the right, that is the most direct route. You just drop all the way down, and you're good. You're golden. Or you can go to the left, and there is a tunnel that you can run through, and that is the slowest, most gradual way to make it all the way down. Or if you run through this tunnel, but you don't go all the way to the end, there is an elevator, and you can take that elevator down, and that cuts out some travel time. And that's sort of like the mid-length pass, or path. So, you know, if you really want to explore everything, it's best to go all of the routes. But, yeah, since we're just trying to kill the boss, we're just going to take the most direct route to get there. More stones. I am super OP mage. There go 3 enemies with 1 spell. There go another 3 enemies with 1 spell. Let's regenerate some mana. And that's it. Those are all the enemies we have to kill between now and the final boss. Well, not the final boss, the next boss. I just have to not die now during the descent, and we'll be okay. But that is itself a challenge, even though I have done this a lot. Because if you mess up while doing this, sometimes there isn't always a way to get out safely. You might have just like screwed yourself. And I'm still going to take fall damage on the way down because I always forget to bring the cat's ring with me without fail. Do I go that way? I've done this so many times, you would think that, like, I would know exactly how to get down there, but I still forget a lot. I think I just drop off here. I can't see down there. Let's try, see what happens. Okay, good. Now I know from here, we drop down onto the earth right there. So we angle it, we roll off, make sure we get it. There we go. There's someone back there, we can ignore him. He's friendly. And but we are going to heal up. Actually, I should have done that once I got through the mine and just equip the regenerator ring to counter all the damage I'd be taking while falling. Okay. Now it gets a little bit harder, but we're almost there. We're like a third of the way down. If you mess this one fall up, though, you die. In fact, if you mess up any of the falls here, you die. So, I used to walk onto that bridge right there, and if you walk all the way down, you can fall through at the end, and if you're lucky, you'll fall onto the bridge right beneath this one, but if you're unlucky, you'll actually hit the wall, and there is a space if you're falling along the wall. There's like a hole so that you'll fall past the bridge that's under this one, and you'll die. Another way to do it, and I've pulled this off like once or twice successfully, is just to fall from here and try to lean into the wall, and you'll drop right there and be fine. But that doesn't always work either. I feel like there's no consistently safe way down. Hello, Rixel. How are you doing? Rixel says, if only I could be so grossly incandescent. Right? We are very glowy. I'm trying not to get our glow snuffed out. Alright. If this does not work, I will be dashboard quitting the game, so we do not incur a loss of souls. Just to throw that out there, because this is very annoying. Uh-oh. Oh, I can't believe that worked. Had we been just a bit further back, I would have hit there, and then I would have fallen backwards and died. Okay. Now from here, see, where do we go? I think we can just drop straight down here, but you still have to be careful because there's holes in the bridge, and no matter how you kind of go down here, it is still very possible to die. Good, good, good. If we would have been a bit more to the left, we could have easily fallen through that hole right there. It doesn't look like you can, but you can. I've done it multiple times. Alright, we did it. We're pretty much safe. You're doing alright? That's good, I'm glad. How am I? I'm doing good. Happy Thanksgiving? Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving as well, Rixel. Doing good. We're trying to get through this entire archstone in a single shot. We've already beat the armor spider. We did that pretty quickly. Just getting through the level to the armor spider was the longest part. But we killed the boss pretty quickly. Now we're making our way down to the Flame Lurker. You think you've only made it maybe an hour into Demon Souls? Oh, why is that? This is where I messed up last time. I walked down this bridge, and then I crossed over there, and then I didn't know what to do next. What you're supposed to do, or at least what I do, is you look behind you, you go over here, you turn left, and there's another bridge. It's kind of hard to see because it's really dark, but you can just make it out, and you walk off this way, and it's so close you don't even take fall damage. And then once you're here, you pan the camera down, and there's another bridge right beneath you. Take a little bit of fall damage from that one. And then you can either turn around and climb down this ladder, which I very well might, or you can come over here and climb up this ladder, though that is a mistake, because that just puts you up there, then you have to fall down again, then you take more damage, and it's not worth it. But the best thing to do from here, come this way, and safely climb down this ladder. Unless you want to get all the items. If you want to get all the items, you're going to have to do a bit more exploration, but if you just want to get to the boss safely, this is the best route. There we go. Free item here. Unknown hero soul. And then if you want to, you don't even have to climb down this ladder. You could just drop, but I'm going to climb down anyway. And then we just have to sprint through that opening there. Oh, the enemies didn't even spawn. There's like at least three enemies in that cave, but they didn't pop up, so that's pretty cool. And we did it! Rixel says, took a small break and just never came back. Aw. Hard to find time to play single-player games sometimes because my friends always ask me to play stuff. Well, you could ask them to get Demon Souls. Demon Souls is multiplayer. You can't multiplay through all of it, but you can multiplay the bosses. And I think you can even multiplayer through some parts of the actual levels. Alright, let me switch rings. There we go. And I think, there we go. Another item. Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. They're all PC players? Ah, I see, I see. Well, you could still do it. But I would understand if you, like, why you wouldn't do it. Like, you could all just download the emulator and then play the emulated PlayStation 3 version of Demon Souls. But if you're going to play Demon Souls, then you might as well just play it on console, which is what you already own it on. Depends if the EMU allows co-op. It does. With, I think it's called RPCS3 or RPC3, something like that. Then, yeah, you can. Good to know. Yeah. Yeah, there's a website and a Discord actually. If you go to YouTube and you type in Demon Souls fan server, then you'll come up with the website and you'll come up with the Discord, or I can just give you the information, and because I'm a part of their Discord. And yeah, the servers for Demon Souls got shut down a while ago. I think they got shut down back in like 2018. But there were some dedicated fans for Demon Souls, the PS3 version, that didn't want to see the online features die. And so they created their own fan server. And if you have a PlayStation 3 and you have oh, hello, Charles. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Cheers. Let me say hello, and then I'll get back to what I was saying. Hello, BNFSMF. Welcome. Shout out to Mr. Charles Q. Banks. Happy Thanksgiving, all. Happy Thanksgiving, Charles. Ah, Charles was just finishing up his Bible reading for the morning. It's always nice to see. Oh, and that's right. I think I saw that you were canceling this afternoon's Elden Ring quest. You'll be partaking of your Thanksgiving feast. That is nice, Charles. That is nice. You must run, but God bless and thanks for streaming. Well, thank you for the raid, Charles. Yes, happy Thanksgiving to all the raiders. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Jim. Welcome, welcome. For all those coming over from the stream of Mr. Charles Q. Banks, welcome. I am Orfeo. I am a variety streamer, and I play a little something different each and every day of the week. Thursdays are dedicated to role-playing games, and that is why we are here with Demon Souls. This is the OG on the PlayStation 3. We are dialed into the fan server, so you may see phantoms and bloodstains. You may see some invaders, though hopefully not. And yeah, this is what the PlayStation 3 version of Demon's Souls looks like. And we are going through our 4th playthrough. This is New Game Plus, if you see the tags. And this is the final playthrough that we need to get the Platinum Trophy. So, yeah. We're almost done with this this Archstone. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Jim. Welcome to our Magic Menagerie. But to answer something brought up by... also hello, Tyler. Welcome, everyone. But to answer a question brought up... thank you. Yes, that's it, Ricksoul. If you want to play Demon's Souls online, and you do not have a PlayStation 3, there is the PC version of it. Yes, you have to get the emulator RPCS3. That's what it's called, Ricksoul. And once you launch the game, you can go on YouTube, and that will tell you how to dial in with the PC version into the private server. Unfortunately, there is no crossplay between the PlayStation 3 version and the PC version, but if you have the PC version, you can play with other people who are also playing the PC version. And yeah, you can join them together and do co-op or PvP. Alright, let's get back to it. We're going to try to kill the Flame Lurker. I think we're going to try to do the strat that I have developed, where we use Soul Ray to penetrate the bones. The hardest part of this strat is setting it up and not dying. Actually, speaking of not dying, let me get stronger grass ready just in case. I like falling back on full moon grass. Okay. Now we're ready. Enter the fog. Demon's Souls is my first Souls game, and I never thought I would get into the Souls series, but I saw people like Charles play through Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Demon's Souls, and it looks so much fun that I thought I'd give it a shot. And I own the original PlayStation 3 version of Demon's Souls, I just never got around to playing it, and so I thought, you know what, let me give it a shot. And I did, and I'm really glad I did, because I totally fell in love with the game. And I fell in love with it so much that I didn't want to stop playing it. And so I said, well, you know what, let's go for Platinum. And now all we have to do to get the Platinum Trophy is to learn the last 2 miracles in the game, and we got it. So, I'm not sure we're going to do that today. I kind of had planned to space it out. But you know what? We haven't been streaming for that long. It's been like just past 2 hours. We'll see what happens. No promises, but we'll see what happens. To beat Flame Lurker, the strat that I use, if you look on the left here, there's a piece of fallen bone. It kind of looks like a spinal cord. I have to run there. But if I run there, he's going to chase me. So what I try to do is I go right, and then eventually he'll start running to the right, then I'll stop and I'll just sprint to the left, where the bones are, to put that between me and Flame Lurker. And then we just kind of keep running around that bone until he's at one end, I'm at the other, and then I fire Soul Ray. And the cool thing about the strat is this fight is actually easier on the PlayStation 3 version than on the PS5 version. Hello, Black Mahoney. Welcome to the stream. What's the Flame Lurker's weakness? The Flame Lurker's weakness is magic. He is weak to magic. So, Soul Arrow works, Soul Ray works, Homing Soul Arrow works, I don't typically like using Homing Soul Arrow though, because you have to be very, very close. It is a very, very short range spell. I typically use Soul Ray, and Soul Ray has a very interesting ability. It has Pierce, which means it can go through multiple enemies. There's only one enemy here, and that's Flame Lurker, but what's interesting about Soul Ray, and this is what's different in the PS3 version, the PS5 version, is that spinal cord over there, that piece of bone, operates differently in the PS3 version than the PS5 version. In the PS5 version, if you fire a spell between the spines of the bone, it will go through and hit Flame Lurker. But in the PS3 version, the hitbox of that bone is a little sloppy. It's accurate enough so that I cannot run through the bone, Flame Lurker cannot run through the bone. But if I use my spell Soul Ray and I fire it not through the spines of the bone, but directly into the bone, it will pass through the bone, out the other side, and then smack Flame Lurker. And so that's the strat that I used to beat him. I didn't know about the strat. I was just really desperate the first time I fought him because he was kicking my rear end. And I almost died. And out of a panic, I fired my spell, and I messed up. And I fired into the bone instead, and then I noticed that Flame Lurker still got hit with the spell, and I thought that was weird. And so I tried it again, and it worked again. I'm like, oh, I guess I can just beat him this way. That works, cool. And so now I try to replicate that every time. This is my 4th time fighting him, and I've always beat him on my first try. In fact, I've first tried most of the bosses in this game, and but there's always a first time for the first try to fail. So I've come close to dying twice. The first time and the 3rd time I fought him. So we'll see what happens. One forward, bank right. There he goes. Sprint. Run towards the bone. Oh, he's right behind me too. Run to the end. I ran through the lava, took a little bit of damage there. Run to the other end. I gotta lock onto him to make this work. If not... And I can't lock onto him from here either. I have to... Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'm locked on. Okay. See how he's on one side, I'm on the other? Now I can fire through the bone. He's still running at me, but he's running into the bone. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, that was so close. And I really messed up right there. I have to keep him on the other side of the bone. That is the strat. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh no, 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 no. Oh, I rolled too far back. Oh no, 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 no. Unlock. The spell cannot pass through the pillar, but it can pass through the bone. Uh-oh. Oh, I did it! I got him. Oh. Oh, that's close. He came right up alongside me. He was going to Hulk smash me to death. That wouldn't have killed me, but that would have almost killed me. Oh my gosh. Demon Souls levels are harder than any other Souls game. You think so? Oh, you're a Wanderer, so you don't have magic? Well, that depends. Wanderers can still learn and use magic. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you would like to try and go for a pure melee build, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. but you still have the ability to wield magic. You just have to find a catalyst and raise your intelligence up to at least, I believe it's 10, and then you can learn at least one spell. Alright, touch the Archstone. We got the Red Hot Demon Soul. I don't think there's any items around here to collect. Oh, nope, I was wrong. There's at least one item here to collect. Storied Hero Soul. There might be two, actually. I think there's one. There we go. It's over this way. Two chunks of Dragonstone. Now I think that's all the items in this area. But I've never played any of the other Souls games, so I don't know if they would be harder. I do plan on playing through every game in the Souls series. I will be staggering the Souls series with other RPGs on Thursdays. Once we finish with Demon Souls, we'll be moving on to Xenogears, which I heard is one of the best RPGs of all time. And then once we beat Xenogears, we'll be back to the Souls series with Dark Souls Remaster. And in each Souls game, I'm also planning to play as a different class. I want to vary things up. I want to sort of get the full Souls experience. And so in Dark Souls, I'll be playing as a knight. So almost the opposite of a magician, which is what I'm playing now. Not royalty, but a magician. But yeah, in Dark Souls, a knight, I want to tech in some faith to sort of make a paladin build. In Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, we'll be playing as a whip-wielding adventurer as an homage to Castlevania and Indiana Jones. In Dark Souls 3, we'll be playing as a cleric, though Charles did tell me that the further into the Dark Souls series you go, the weaker faith gets. But my three favorite classes in role-playing games are always caster, tank, and healer. I've never really been a big fan of just melee classes. But yeah, despite that, I still want to play as a cleric in Dark Souls 3. Then we're going to move on to Bloodborne, and we're going to be a military veteran, which Charles told me is akin to the warrior class from Dark Souls. And then to Elden Ring, and we're going to be a bandit. We're going to be the thief who tries to steal the One Ring, the Elden Ring. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Rixel says, nice! Ritika says, cheese, love these, yes. Drex says, nice. Rixel says, personal opinion, I didn't like how cheesy bosses were in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. Very little time to get damage in my opinion. Black Mahona says, yes, because the lack of checkpoints. That is something else I've seen a lot of people complain about in Demon Souls. They complain about the lack of checkpoints. Like, when's the next bonfire? And it's always fun when either the realization comes to them that there is no bonfire, or when someone in chat tells them, like, if they actually legitimately ask in chat, like, hey chat, when's the next bonfire? And they're like, there is no bonfire. The next bonfire is after you beat the first boss. Like, what happens if I die before I reach the first boss, or at the first boss? Like, then you have to replay the entire level all over again. And you just see, like, their jaw drop and they freak out. And it's kind of fun. Rixel says, I quite like Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, because there are very nice periods in a fight to get damage off. Like Mohan says, oh, you missing out. Dark Souls 1 is my favorite. Nice. Yes, I will definitely be playing through all this. The only Souls game I'm not sure I'm going to play through is Sekiro. It's very different from all the other Souls games. But another Souls streamer that I follow, her name is Life of Pre. Sekiro is her favorite of all the Souls games. And what she recommended is...
Thank goodness
I play through all of the other Souls games that I have planned to play through. And afterwards, then I kind of hop on Twitch or I hop on YouTube, and I kind of take a more critical eye to Sekiro. And once I have the experience that I do with the other Souls games, and if I like what I see, then go for it. If I don't like what I see, then skip it. But at least save it for last, play through the others first, and then kind of see what you think afterwards. So that's what I'm planning to do.
We are indebted.
Alright, next boss, the Dragon God.
I can forge.
Stuff fixed.
Do come back,
Alright. And we don't have enough souls to level up. Here we go. Flame Lurker Archstone. Archstone of the Demon Flame Lurker. Since ancient times, a fire demon has been sealed in an underground temple filled with dragon bones. Deeper still lies an even larger dragon's skeleton. Ratika doesn't like Sekiro. Rixel says, Dark Souls 2 has one of my favorite builds. 2 blue flames with the North Warder set. Albertrick says, for real, that's what happened to me. I didn't know about the boss. Wait, didn't know about what? About, what do you mean they didn't know about the boss? Albatrax. Ratika says, I have a little love-hate relationship with Sekiro. Yeah, people say out of all the Souls games, Sekiro is the most challenging. That's the hardest one. And it's the hardest one because, well, it's supposedly the hardest one for 2 reasons. It's the hardest one because you can't really power through it like you can some of the other Souls games. You don't have as many options because you really only have like one class in Sekiro, as opposed to a lot of different potential class builds in all the other Souls games. So it's more like in Sekiro you have to play the game the way they want you to play the game. You have to learn what that way is and then get good at it. And yeah, there is some flexibility, but on the whole you do have to sort of learn and adapt. In the other Souls games you don't do that. They're more open, they're more free. But they also say that Sekiro is harder because of the there's a lot more countering involved, and you don't always have to do that in the other Souls games. You can just try to dodge, and you can still win that way. Like in Demon Souls, I don't really know how to counter. Like I know how you're supposed to do it with it, like like I know it takes timing, and you have to wait for them to try to hit you, and then you have to try to parry at the right time. Like I know the idea behind it, but if you ask me to do it, odds are I won't be able to pull it off, and I haven't really needed to in Demon Souls. But in Sekiro, they say it's like a mandatory thing. Albatrex says the bonfire thing you were talking about. Oh yeah. About how there's no bonfire except for the other bosses. That's fun. Rixel says they're inch swords that can give cast like a catalyst. So having 2 of them gives you a 2-sword light and heavy attack, and a single sword light attack plus casting. Lots of versatility. The armor increases buff duration, so I use magic weapon on both swords. Really fun. That sounds like a lot of damage. Albatrax says, I have a funny story about Sekiro. Do tell, Albatrax, do tell. Yeah, I also spend a good amount of time in other streamers' Soul streams. And when I pop into their streams, something I like to always ask, 2 questions. The first is this your first playthrough of Demon Souls? And if they say yes, then I ask, is this your first Souls game? And most of the time they say no, this is not their first Souls game. I'll take this just because I can. And then they typically rattle off all the other Souls games they've played. And the reason why I like to hear that is because I like to see how many tries it takes for them to beat a certain number of bosses or to get through a certain level. And what I find very, very interesting is that a lot of Souls players, and this goes counter to what I've read. What I've read is that Demon Souls is the easiest of all the Souls games if you are a Souls player. If you're not a Souls player, then it can be quite difficult because Demon Souls doesn't really hold your hand as much as something like Dark Souls 1 does, or some of the other Souls games do. But from what I've seen in streams, it looks like Demon Souls is actually quite difficult because a lot of the other Souls players do say that that Demon Souls is rather difficult. They seem to die a lot, and they get very aggravated. And it kind of makes me feel good because when I play Demon Souls, again, I first tried almost every boss in the game. I want to say Dragon God is the first boss in my playthrough, because I went through all the Archstones. I went through like all of the Archstone of the Small King up until you hit the fog wall when you can't go any further, and you have to come to the next one, which is typically this one. The Dragon God was the first boss that actually killed me, and I beat him my third try. Yeah, a lot of other players seem to have, a lot of our Souls players seem to have a very hard time with this game, and I find that interesting. But that also makes me wonder, like, well, they found the other Souls games easier, but they found this one harder. I wonder if the reverse is going to happen to me. I wonder if I have like a much easier time in Demon Souls, but a much harder time in the other Souls games. But we'll see. But originally I died here because I was trying to use my sword to break those pillars, and I just couldn't do it fast enough. My sword just wasn't that strong. I now have the phosphorescent pole fully upgraded, and I could probably break those pillars a lot faster, but the safest way to do this, if you're a mage, or even if you're not a mage, if you just have ranged weapons, like a crossbow or a bow and arrow, is just to hide and to stay hidden. And then it's easier to do with a bow and arrow, but you can still do it if you're a mage. Try to stand towards the pillars, and then fire a spell. And then it looks like it missed. It didn't. It hit. You have to cast quite a few times, but if you have mana regen, it's not too bad. And you just keep doing this, and there you go. You can shatter all of the pillars from safety. So instead of having to worry about running back and forth or running to the pillars, whacking once or twice, turning around, running back to hide, waiting till the dragon's eyes flicker back from red to yellow, and then running back out and rinse and repeating over and over and over again until they break, and then run through to the next set, which is highly risky. You really only have to worry about running and hiding. You don't have to worry so much about breaking anything. Oh dear. I got kind of lucky. I stopped too soon. I thought I was already hidden. And even when he sees you, he doesn't always attack you, because the game gives you leeway. It doesn't anticipate you using ranged attacks to break the pillars. It anticipates you using a weapon, a melee weapon, to break the pillars. And so that's why he doesn't immediately try to kill you. And so even if you mess up like I just messed up, and I stopped short of actually hiding, you still have a sort of a grace period that you can use. And that's really nice. That's really comfortable. So, now that's not to say that I'm going to get through this without dying. I might die. But, you know, it's there's a good chance that I will make it all the way through. But we'll see. Smash some more with my magic here. But I figured this out due mainly to frustration. Because the first 2 times I died because my sword just couldn't break the rocks fast enough. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if magic would work. And so I just stood there and just kept pelting it with magic over and over again, and it actually worked. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Alright, turn once more and I'll sprint all the way up the stairs. Go. Oh, he's so angry. So angry. New moon grass, thank you. Rixel says people aren't used to having a lot of usables like moongrass. True. That's another complaint I've heard from Souls players. Is that they hate the idea that you have to farm for healing items. They would rather you just go to a bonfire and just get everything back. And they hate the idea that you have to grind. I love the idea. I'm a huge fan of the idea. And that is because I think it's because of the mindset of how I approach these games. If you look at Demon's Souls, or really any of the Souls games, as more of an action game with RPG elements, then yeah, grinding for items is boring. It feels unnecessary. It feels like it slows down the pace of the game unnecessarily. Like, I get that. But if you look at the Souls series as more of a role-playing game series, well, in a lot of role-playing games, especially JRPGs, grinding is just, it's part of the game. It's natural. And when you compare the Souls series to a more traditional JRPG series, like Final Fantasy, the Souls series, even Demon's Souls, requires way less grinding, like way less grinding. And really in Souls, you're not even most of the time grinding for levels, you're just grinding for items, and you catch levels along the way, which is even better. So, you know, it's not bad at all. And you can kind of abuse the system, really. Like, you can rack up a lot of healing items and have way more healing items in something like Demon's Souls than I think you can in something like the original Dark Souls. All right. Third of the way there. We got full mana again. I'll go back to our sword. The Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. Albert says, I used to watch this other streamer who bought Sekiro thinking it was Ghost of Tsushima. Uh-oh. He got really frustrated because the game was whooping his butt. Unfortunately, I wasn't there for those streams. Ratika says, I'll go to bed now. Have to wake up for work in 7 hours to have a very... 7 hours. So have a very lovely stream, my friend. Thank you, Ratika. Sleep well, and I hope work goes well for you tomorrow. Alright. And now we wait for his head tick. Look around. And it'll bob up 3 times. And while it's bobbing up, we can run. Just have to be patient. There it is. Just stay in the shadow of the pillars. And then from here, we can hit that one over there. This only gets nerve-wracking during one part. Aside from one part, this is pretty easy. And that one part is the final broken pillar as we run up the stairs. Because you don't have enough time to break that with magic. You have to go physical. And right before we head up there, that's when we're going to toggle to the phosphorescent pole. And we should be fine. I think the phosphorescent pole breaks in like 1, maybe 2 hits. Okay, we're in the shadow, so we're fine. Turn ourselves around. You have to free aim magic, which can be a bit of a challenge. Alright, I think that'll work. Yeah, okay, that's working. Alright. Now it gets a bit harder. We have to hide behind that pillar. And the shadow is pretty thin. It's a pretty good distance away from us at the same time. So we're going to wait until his head resets. And during the first bob, we're going to sprint over there and try to hide as best we can. There we go. Look how narrow that shadow is. It's safe here. Something I really like about the Dragon God, and a lot of people hate this, and I understand why they hate it, and I kind of hated it the first time too. But part of what I really like about the Dragon God, as far as his boss design goes, isn't only that it's gimmicky, which I actually like gimmicky boss fights. But it's also the fact that the Dragon God is the only boss in the entire game, and I think he's also the only enemy in the entire game, who can and will always one-shot you if he hits you directly. No other boss or enemy in the game has that ability. But it makes sense because his name is the Dragon God, and you are just a normal human. So, kind of makes sense that, you know, a god could kill you in one hit. Alright, we got 2 pillars left, and we are done. Wait for his head to bob again. Here we go. Alright, we made it to the next one. Wait for his head to reset, and we'll sprint over to the pillar behind that arch. There we go. Made it. We good? I think we're good. Pretty sure we're good. Okay. There we go. Am I hitting it? I don't think I'm hitting it. Hold on. I have to... There we go. Okay. No, I'm still not hitting it. Trying to be very careful about this. There we go. Okay, now we got it. Now we got it. There we are. And yes, I do have a lot of mana. I have focused all of my points, or pretty much all of my points, into magic to boost the damage of my spells, and into intelligence to boost my mana pool. And I always play Demon Souls as much as I can in full body form, so I always have access to my full HP bar. Even if you have limited mana, you can still pull this off if you have a mana regen item like the Fragrant Ring or just some spices. or the phosphorescent pole is what I use for mana regen now. And so it'll take a lot longer for you, but you can still do it. Alright. Now I get this. I put it in both hands to make it stronger. And then this is the long run. I have to wait for his head bob. I sprint up the stairs. I whack the fallen pillar, and then I sprint the rest of the way up the stairs. That's long. So, oh, I'm sorry, just a few moments. One moment. Alright, we are back. And I have a visitor. You can kind of see him off screen, on camera, there. There we go, yes. That is my cousin, the Rebellion. If you want to, you can give him a follow. He hasn't streamed in a bit, but he might change his mind. Is it still the Rebellion on Twitch? You changed it, didn't you? That's right. There we go. He was last streaming Final Fantasy XIV Online. So, he also likes to collect figures, if you are interested in that, or Final Fantasy, check him out. We are streaming through Demon Souls on the PS3. This is the 4th playthrough. We are going for the Platinum Trophy. I have done everything else.
Demon Souls?
Demon Souls.
The original.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like to show this off. This is my copy. I keep saying though, this is the 4th playthrough.
But I mean, like, as in, like, your first time, like, doing, like, basically, like, doing your runs, like, 4 playthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I played this.
Yeah, every time I do the stream, I tell people I don't remember where I got this from. I don't know if you gave it to me or if I just bought it at like a secondhand shop
No,
after.
I think you actually bought it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you gave me, like,
Yeah.
because you said you wanted the original copy of PS3.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mine.
So there you have it. I got my original copy of Demon Souls from the Rebellion. But yeah, I tell people that I wasn't sure where I got it from, and I had owned the game for quite some time, and I kind of never thought I would get around to playing it. And then I started following a few other streamers for different games that they were playing. One person was playing Anthem, which I really, really liked. Another person was playing Nintendo games, which I like to watch Nintendo games, but I can't really play them. I've tried, they don't really hold my interest. And then someone else was playing Doki Doki Literature Club, and that was fun. It's always fun. And I started following those streamers for those other games, but then I found out that each of those streamers was actually a Souls streamer, and those other games were just other games that they were trying at the time. And so I watched them play through some Dark Souls and some Elden Ring and some Demon Souls, and I'm like, I didn't really want to play through the Souls series at first because I heard it's very hard, and I don't want to play through a game that's main attraction is just that it's difficult. That's not appealing to me. But watching other people play it and watching them overcome the monsters and looking at all, or seeing all the different weapons and the different items you could collect and the different lore, or how deep the lore can be and the different elements of exploration and the dark gothic atmosphere, like that really appealed to me. And I love the dark fantasy elements. And so I said, you know what, I'll go ahead and give it a try. I have it. Yeah.
Like, the reason why I played this one, though, is because, so, going through the levels, there's really no checkpoints. Basically you gotta go through the level. Now you gotta start from the beginning. But at least you get to open, like, certain doors and gates that get past it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Dark Soul games, they started adding checkpoints, bonfires. So when you're going throughout the game, it'll kind of help you, like, relax. This, you actually got to go through the whole level to get to the boss and beat it. Because if you die, you have to start from the beginning again.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have no little, like, checkpoint. And the only checkpoint kind of gave her a door to open up to help get to them.
Yeah.
That's why this game is harder than the other ones. The other ones make you feel more relaxed because of the monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've said that as well on these streams where not only do I play Demon Souls quite a bit, but I also like to go into the streams of other Souls streamers. And when I go into their streams, I always ask them 2 questions. The first is this your first playthrough of Demon Souls? And if they say yes, then the follow-up question is this your first Souls game? And usually it's not. Usually I've played Elden Ring and some of the Dark Souls games, And there's always two moments that I really, really enjoy when I watch someone play Demon Souls for the first time that has played the other Souls games. And that is eventually, as they play through Demon Souls, they'll start to get curious and they'll ask their chat. And sometimes they're just thinking out loud, they won't really want an answer, but sometimes they genuinely do. And the question that they ask their chat is, okay, where's the first bonfire? I've made a lot of progress. And that's when I start to get like that little evil smile. I'm like, ooh, they don't know. And eventually they might crack, like, okay, Chad, just tell me, I just want to know, where's the first bonfire? And they're like, there are no bonfires. You have to beat the boss. And they're like, what happens if I die? Where do I start at? The beginning.
And then you have to collect your soul again.
Yeah. And they're like, you're kidding. Like, oh. And as if they die, they just start to rage. And the more they die, the more they rage. And the more they rage, the more they lose focus. And so the more they die.
Especially when you die before you reach the boss again, how far your soul.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fun to watch. The other one that's really fun is the boss, which is my favorite one. I mean, when it comes to just fighting it, the Tower Knight is my favorite. When it comes, yeah, the big gigantic knight.
First boss.
But well,
First major boss.
after Phalanx. Phalanx is like the big gloopy slime thing with the
Oh,
shields.
you mean where you're supposed to die?
Yeah. No. The first one you're supposed to die is the Vanguard demon.
Oh, you're right. You're right. The slime with all the shields. You have to break it.
Yeah.
It had those legs. I mean, it's almost like a slime of Spartans.
Yeah. But the funniest boss I like to watch him is the Fool's Idol. Where the Fool's Idol, you can't actually kill her. You have to go kill the other enemy that's outside the arena.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to go back down and kill her. If not, she won't die.
Yeah.
And it's always fun watching someone skip the enemy and not know about the enemy you have to kill and go fight the boss, and they're confused as to what's going on. And my favorite story about that, and it's one of the most inspirational Soul streamers I have ever seen. And I'm not going to say their name on stream, but some of you may know who I'm talking about. It's a very popular streamer, and she is a Soul streamer, and Demon Souls was her last. And she started playing, and after those questions, and first playthrough, she had beaten every other Souls game. Demon Souls was her last one. And so I always anticipate, or at least when I first started watching the Soul streamers, I had anticipated if they gave me those answers, like, yeah, first playthrough, I've beaten every other Souls game. I'm like, oh, they're going to fly through this. I first tried almost every boss in Demon Souls. So I'm thinking they're just going to blow this game out of the water. And she died a lot. And it took her 2 weeks to beat the Fool's Idol boss for the very first time. 2 full weeks. That was like 10 hours spread across... Oh, no, I'm sorry, 2 streams. 10 hours spread across 2 streams, as it was.
Wait, the remake?
The remake. And when she finally killed the boss for the first time, she looked so relieved. And then the boss didn't die. And she was confused. And she just broke down and she asked chat, like, what's going on? Why isn't the boss dead? And they told her, because she wanted no spoilers and was very good about not spoiling anything. But she finally asked, like, what's going on? Like, you have to go back and kill that enemy that you missed. And then you can go fight the boss. And she's like, well, once I kill that enemy, will the boss still be dead? And they're like, no, you have to kill the boss again. And she just stopped, and it looked like she was about to crack. Like, her face sunk down. It looked like she was about to cry. Like, it looked really sad. And the whole time I watched her play through Souls, I was like, how did this person beat every other Souls game? Because they're so bad. Like, they're dying so often to, like, such easy stuff. And it was at that moment that I discovered how she beat all the other Souls games. When they told her that she had to kill that enemy and then go back and fight the boss, it took her 10 hours to kill for the very first time. She kind of hesitated for a moment, and then she's like, okay. And then she just went, she did it. And she killed the enemy, she ran back into the boss room, and she killed the boss again, like, immediately after. And I was like, that is awesome. That's how she beat every other boss. That's how she beat every other Souls game. Just that determination, that willingness to not quit, and to just keep going until you do succeed. I'm like, that's what makes her a Souls player. I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
Of all the games, I have to say, Bloodborne is my favorite. I actually like it. Totally true. Now, I get But
Nope.
that game is way too overwhelming. And how big the game is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I literally had to take a break from it. But Bloodborne is like really my favorite, and I really hope they make it.
For many people, Bloodborne is their favorite. I've asked many people what their favorite Souls game is, and it's
the art concept.
crap.
Very, very just steampunkish.
Many people say their favorite game in the Souls series is it's typically one of three. It's either Elden Ring or Bloodborne or it's Sekiro. Hold on, I gotta get this just right. Right there. And I may have screwed that up. I'm shocked I pulled that off. Alright, we got this. Oh. But typically they say that either Elden Ring is their favorite because they say it's more accessible than the other games, and they like the open world and like being able to ride a mount.
Because the game is like, I don't know what it is. I think they made it weak. It's hard, just like Dark Souls.
Yeah, well, not everyone seems to really care for it. Some people say they prefer Sekiro because of its challenge. They say it's harder than the other games. Because in the other games, you can choose a class you want. There's a greater variety of weapons that you can use. There's a greater variety of approaches that you can take to beat bosses and enemies. And that doesn't really exist in Sekiro. In Sekiro, you just have to kind of get good. And some people really like that. So, like, that's understandable. And then some people, they say that they think that Bloodborne is the best because Bloodborne just does everything to, like, the highest caliber. Like, they say, even though it's more linear than Elden Ring, because of that linearity, they were able to really maximize the detail in the graphics. So the graphics are really good, the music's really good, the bosses are really good, the combat's really good. Like every element of the Souls series is tuned to its best across the board in Bloodborne. And like that's pretty cool. But I plan now to play each and every Souls game. And
In a row?
Not in a row.
Okay.
I'm gonna break it up with other RPGs. So after this, after I get the Platinum Trophy, I'm gonna play Xenogears on the PS1. But then I'm returning to Souls series with Dark Souls 1 Remastered. And I'll be playing as a different class in every Souls game. So in this one, I'm a magician. And then in Dark Souls 1, I'm going to be a knight. And I want to tech in some faith to make like a paladin build. In Dark Souls 2, I'm going to be a whip-wielding adventurer as like an homage to Castlevania or Indiana Jones. Dark Souls 3, a cleric. Bloodborne, a military veteran, which someone has said is sort of like a warrior in Dark Souls. And then Elden Ring, I'm going to be a bandit, the thief after the One Ring. So
The next game I'm buying is
Thank goodness I was what?
yeah, Callisto Protocol?
The Protocol, that's what.
That looks very good.
Yeah, that's actually the same people that did Dead Space.
Mm-hmm.
Then after I want to play
Yes, that looks really good. There's only 2 games I'm like really, really looking forward to next year.
not God of War.
Me neither.
Not really pressured.
We are indebted to you, for you
Thanks.
fight on our behalf.
But then I'm way behind in the God of War series anyway. But
I can forge
only the
weapons
Harry
for
Potter
you.
game,
A fair
Hogwarts
price.
Legacy, and Alan Wake 2 are the only 2 games I'm like really looking forward to next year. There's probably going to be other games, but the only ones I'm really, really looking forward to are those 2.
No interest, eh?
Mhm.
Go to Hogsmeade.
I can tell you're not gonna last long
Go
here.
to the Dark Forest.
Now people are saying there's a leak, and in the leak they've discovered, they don't know what they are, but it seems that the game's going to have multiple endings, so you can go down different paths. You can either be like a true, more modern wizard where you don't want to take part in any of the dark magic, or you can actually get involved in the dark stuff. And I think that's really neat, and how that, where that leads you, where that takes you.
Yeah, my favorite house.
I don't know what I'll choose. I don't even know if you can choose.
Yeah.
You can? Oh, I didn't know if it was going to be like a sorting hat
Like a
thing.
random thing.
Okay.
Well, you do the sorting hat thing, but you get to choose.
That's cheating. Maybe
Really?
it like
Because-
suggests where you go, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. But that's what Harry did.
But then people, all they're going to do is reset their game and do it again. Until they get the house they want.
That's true. What was I doing? Oh, I'll pop some souls. Legendary Soldier Soul. And Story Hero Soul. Renowned Soldier Soul.
Alright, I'm going
Alright.
this with me.
Sure.
I'll bring it back later.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, chat.
Alright, chat. He's heading out. Maybe we'll see him later. We'll see. But as for me and you, chat, we are going to stay here. So yes, some of my excuse me, some of my family and friends are in other parts of the house enjoying some festivities, but I am not feeling well. Unfortunately, I had breakfast this morning, but I don't really plan on eating any more food the rest of the day. I'm just feeling a bit nauseous. And, oh my, I didn't notice that. So, whiskers there for my beard. Trimmed it this morning. Yes, I've been ill for a bit, but I am on the road to recovery. It's just taking me a while to get down that road. But do not fear, I will be okay in time. I am definitely better than I used to be, that's for certain. So this was going to be the end of the stream. The only plan today was to knock out the Archstone of the Burrow King, and we actually did that. We did that in over 3 hours. We probably could have done it like under 2.5 hours. But we had, like I said, a visitation. It was nice. It was fun to sit down and spend time with him. We could keep going, or we could call a stream. Part of me is, I'm kind of tempted either way, really. We could keep going, in which case we would dive into the Archstone of the Tower Queen. But Latria is such a big place to have to run through the whole prison, and then there's Upper Latria. Ooh. I don't know. I feel like whenever it comes to the Tower Queen Archstone, it's not something I really look forward to doing, in addition to other things that day. I think we probably are going to call it here. But let me know what you thought of the brief pop-in of Rebellion. I've been thinking about maybe asking, or maybe trying to set up some co-stream stuff. We will see. He and I used to game together quite often. And he was talking about getting more into streaming, so we'll see what happens. But yes, great stream. Thank you, Rixel. Yeah. We did it. We beat the entire Archstone of the Burrow King. So we'll be back next Thursday, if you want to continue following our Demon Souls adventure. And we'll be streaming through the Archstone of the Tower Queen, so that will be all of Latria. We will... Let's see, what does that involve? We will be defeating the Red Phantom that wields the Baby's Nail Dagger and the crossbow. that guards the first boss. I consider that Red Phantom to be like a mini-boss. Then we'll fight the first boss, which is the Fool's Idol. We'll go after the second boss, which are the Man-Eater demons. And then we will fight the old monk. And that will be it. We're not going to try to rescue anyone in Latria. We don't need to rescue Sage Frake. We have all the spells already. We've learned them all. We do not need to rescue Lord Ridiel. We did that during our first playthrough. And we do not need to encounter Yurt, the Silent Chief, who's locked up in Upper Latria, just because we've already done the Mephistopheles side quest. We had to do that in order to collect all the rings, or to get the trophy for collecting all the rings. So, it shouldn't... You would think that would make it faster, but no, not really. We are still going to have our hands full, because Latria is a pretty big and scary place. The next time I'll be streaming in general will be tomorrow afternoon from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock for Franchise Fridays, and we are going to be playing through Borderlands 3. And so I'm not sure how much further we're going to get. Last Friday, we're in our first playthrough. We're playing as Zane the Operative, if you're familiar with the game. And last Friday, we finished with the planet of Promethea and Athenas, and we should be heading to Atlas headquarters to receive a third vault key fragment from Reese. And I don't know what else is going to take place after that. One thing I will do briefly here while I'm still rattling on is I know I do have to reset my spells. Actually, hold on.
I see. Just in...
I might as well reset my spells now in anticipation of going to Latria. The Mind Flayers there do tend to resist magic, but they are weak to fire, and so I'll equip my Ring of Magical Nature. That gives me an additional spell slot.
Are you begging?
And then go to my spells, take these off. And really, I only have magic spells equipped for the Archstone of the Burrow King. Everywhere else I use fire. So I always use 4 spells every time I go anywhere. You always want to use a lower tier spell. Either Soul Arrow or Flame Toss are your 2 best, most mana efficient spells. And by mana efficient, I mean if you go to your average enemy and hit him with a spell, and you write down that damage number, and then you look at how much mana or the MP cost of that spell, and you do some quick math, you can find out how much damage you deal with that spell per single point of mana. And when you break down those numbers, when you analyze all the spells, the 2 that are really the most efficient are Soul Arrow and Flame Toss. And so it's helpful that they're just of 2 different elements, either magic or fire. The only place, again, I ever really use magic a lot, specifically Soul Arrow, is the Archstone of the Burrow King, since everything there seems to resist fire. But fire works pretty well everywhere else. So instead of Soul Arrow, we use Flame Toss. I always use the same 2 next spells, even though they are of different elements. They are my crowd control spells, and they are Soul Ray. Soul Ray because it has penetration. If enemies are lined up in a roughly straight or single file line, when you fire Soul Ray, it will hit the first enemy, pass through, hit the second enemy, and you can actually kill a lot of enemies, or at least damage a lot of enemies with Soul Ray. I think the most I've killed in one cast was 5 enemies, and in that case it becomes really mana efficient. But yeah, enemies are standing in a straight line, use Soul Ray, and you'll deal a lot of good damage. The other spell I always use is Fireball. Fireball I like because it has a small AoE. I will stress it is small, but it is there, it does exist. So if enemies are standing not in line, but closer to shoulder, use Fireball and you'll hit all the enemies at once. So in certain situations, either Soul Ray or Fireball could actually be more mana efficient due to their crowd control capabilities than either Soul Arrow or Flame Toss. It's kind of a bit of a rare situation when that does occur, but it does occur. And it does occur usually at least a few times through each of the Archstones. So it is always a good idea to keep Soul Ray and Fireball on you at all times. And if this is kind of the only spells you have, Fireball may also be your boss killer spell until you get something better. Homing Soul Arrow is really strong. I would not recommend it as a boss killer spell unless you are a Spell Sword, which is a very, very rare build in Demon Souls. I've never seen it done. Theoretically, it's possible, but I've never seen it done. A Spell Sword being, you focus more on melee damage as a magic user, but you really try to use other spells to make yourself a more dangerous magic user, meaning instead of using spells to deal damage directly, you use spells that really buffs your damage or buffs your defense or weakens the defense of your enemies, and you just kind of use magic to sort of enhance your melee ability. I've never seen anyone do that, but it is possible. If that's your build, though, if you want to be a spell sword, then Homing Soul Arrow works really well for you. That is your boss killer spell, because almost as soon as the fight starts, you're going to use your buffs, and then you're going to use Homing Soul Arrow. And the great thing about Homing Soul Arrow is it just hovers around you for a while, and then it shoots, so you can get some distance from the enemy after you cast your buffs. Cast Homing Soul Arrow, and then just try to run around the enemy and just fight like normal. And then eventually, Homing Soul Arrow will activate. It'll fire off and attack the enemy, and so that will just help your damage output. But if that's not your build, if you're more of an offensive mage in that you want to use spells to deal damage directly, then what you're really looking to use is Firestorm, and that takes up 3 slots, and that's why I wear the Ring of Magical Nature to give me that extra slot. Firestorm is a really, really awesome spell. It's my favorite spell in the game.
Be careful how you use it. Normally, I had to make...
That's it there. Firestorm is my favorite spell because it appeals to how I like to use offense in games, whether it's Magic or not. And that is, I tend to be kind of hyper-aggressive in games. Like, I'll pace myself if I think I have to, but I really rather be just pummeling an enemy with damage. And Firestorm does that. It's the most damaging spell in the entire game. But the thing about Firestorm, and I think what makes it more fun, is it is very high reward, but it's also very high risk. It's high risk because it takes a while to cast the spell. While casting the spell, you are sort of at the mercy of the enemy. Firestorm also does not have the ability to lock on to enemies. It just generates pillars of flame that shoot up from the floor randomly around the caster. And it is possible, and this has happened to me multiple times and led to my death, where I will cast Firestorm and pillars of flame will shoot up to the left of me, they'll shoot up to the right of me, they'll come up behind me, but they won't shoot up in front of me at all. And that's where the enemies are. And so they'll just run right at me and smack me in the face as I'm casting Firestorm and take 0 damage, and then I die. So the Firestorm is one of those spells where it's fun, and when it works, when it lands, which is the majority of the time, to be fair, it's pretty awesome. I have one-shot bosses with Firestorm. It is so OP. But when it doesn't work, when you miss the enemy, you are in a very, very dangerous place. And it's very possible to die from even a normal enemy pretty quickly if you miss with Firestorm. So, it's fun. And Zetman has redeemed Hydrate very well. Cheers, Zetman. Thank you for the hydration redemption. All right. But, yeah, we are going to go ahead and call it here. And thank you for hanging out. Let me give out some thank yous, and then we'll go ahead and call stream. I don't think anyone I know, I mean, I'll check, but I don't think anyone I know is streaming right now. Later on in the day they will be, but not right now. Let me see. Oh, no, I was wrong. We can raid Guns of the Helghast. I won't be able to stay in his stream, but we can raid him. He's streaming Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. I have not played that game yet. I want to. But the Metal Gear series is a pretty story-heavy series, and I don't want any spoilers. So that is why I will not be staying in his stream, but I will throw him a raid. And let me set that up right now. I misspelled Helghast. There we go. Okay. But before typing that, or before entering it anyway, yes, let me say thank you to those who showed up and made the presence known in chat. And also thank you for the redemptions. Thank you, Zetman. Thank you, Rixel. Thank you, Ratika. Thank you, Albatrax. Thank you, Black Mahone. And also thank you for the let's see here. Thank you for the follow, Jim. And thank you to Mr. Charles Q. Banks for the raid. Thank you, Tyler, for coming over. Thank you to BNFSMF for coming as well. And also, thanks goes out to my cousin, whom you saw earlier, The Rebellion, for stopping by. It was nice to see him again. Also, thank you to Wipeout for popping into stream for a bit. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your holiday. I am not really sure what I'm going to do, honestly. Also thank you to the lurkers for being here. I hope you found some measure of entertainment in the content, my attitude towards it, or a bit of both. And yeah, I think I'll probably just wait on some other streams to start. Let me go ahead and hit enter. There we go. Raid is on its way. And probably go back to maybe gaming on my gaming PC while I'm waiting on those other streams to start. Or maybe I'll even hit up my mobile phone game. We will see. We'll see. One moment. There we go. But yes, it was fun. Let me dive back out here. There we are. So yes, I hope you have had a good time. I know I have. Again, enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope it goes well, and if you do not celebrate, then I hope you have a good day. And I hope to see you again soon. Either next Thursday for more Demon Souls, or perhaps tomorrow for Borderlands 3.